Hello, ladies. I know it has been a while since I have come here and I have recorded something, but I felt the need to do so because I just want to get some immediate feedback. I hope you're all having a wonderful day, week, whatever. I'm so proud of the small community we've built here of people who are radical femmes who want to live a life on their own terms. And I'm just grateful for the community that we've been cultivating. And I just really want to talk about this Hakimi football player and the myth of the benevolent patriarch and how that is something, well, problem with opening your windows. And that is something that we are going to have to contend with over the coming decades. This entire idea and this need that a lot of people have for the benevolent patriarch and how that person no longer exists. So let's look at the Hakimi football player. This is a man who is successful. For you to get to the point of playing in the Premier League and actually playing like an official football team, you have to be successful. And we don't know if this story is actually true or false, but basically the story that has been spread, which is probably false from what I understand, was that he put all the money in his mother's name. So now that his wife wants to leave him because he was basically accused of raping somebody in their fucking house, she is going to be hard for her to find money. First of all, it's going to be hard, but the lawyers will still get the money. Best believe that. But what has made me wonder, what this entire situation has highlighted for me, it's how so many men want this woman to suffer. And this woman never did anything wrong other than leave a marriage that for a man who was accused of fucking rape. She did not wasn't malicious, she did not cheat on him, she did not do anything. But how dare she get some of his hard-earned money, right? And this is why I feel bad for the women who are ready to surrender their life and be sidekick in their own life. Because best believe when shit hits the fan, they remind you that you did not work for this money. And I think there's something in our society, just something brewing in the water. And that's why I'm trying to get this out as quickly as possible. About a lot of women feeling like, one, if you've noticed, like on TikToks, a lot of these women going out of their way to say, I have a provider man in a prideful way, not in a way, not in just a prideful way, but like bragging. I have a provider man. He provides for me. I don't go 50-50 like these girls. And they say it in these subtle ways, like my man, he pays all the bills, blah, 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 blah. I just get to stay at home, bask in my feminine. And they say it in a way to show that, like, oh, I have a provider man, like in a status signaling way, signaling to other women, I got a provider. And I feel somewhat bad for these women because the reality is the man that you marry or date is not the man that you divorce. And I have a friend who's going through a divorce right now, and her man was actually a good man. Men come in all degrees of trifling, but if you were to graph his trifling chart, he was at the bottom. And what happened was that their relationship just went to shits. And now that their relationship went to shit and she ended up being like, you know what, let's just end this thing. They got married legally, but for immigration reasons more than anything. Now this man has gone cold on her, says nothing to her, he's just mean to her. And the reality is that the man who she was dating, she would never have guessed that this is the man it would have been when they divorced, when their relationship was shitty. It wasn't even good anymore. And the problem with our society is that we're not ready to contend with the fact that a lot of men are very useless. And we forget that patriarchy and religion, literally affirmative action for men. That is why they were able to get ahead. And that's why they were able to look like providers, because you literally prevented half the population from working. Anybody who's had brothers and grew up with them knows that men are very useless. Literally, you have studies in the West where men and women have access to education that they're beginning to say, let's stagger education because these men are behind. How are these meant to be the heads of homes? How are these meant to be the patriarchs? How are these meant to be the leaders that people are meant? How are these meant to be the providers? And the reason why I say that is that, like, a lot of women are setting themselves up for major disappointment by hoping that they will bag one of these benevolent providers, benevolent patriarchs. And women have this very individualistic mindset where it's like, as long as I get my own, it's okay. As long as I get my own, it's okay. Look, like, I'm not going to do too much. If I get my man, I'll just subtly begin to undermine women's progress because now I got a good man. I got one of the good ones. But the reality is that you can see from these Hakimi comments, so many men are so happy that this woman is getting nothing. Do we even know if this is real or not? We don't. But they're so happy. How are these meant to be the providers providing for you people? And if they are not the providers, then we have to contend that a lot of women are not going to get men that are willing to do this providing work. I just think I remember when Nini Leaks, her husband, Greg's husband, former husband, Greg, died. And how before he died, he made sure he put money away and everything was figured out and all the bills were together and everything was provided for. That's me. And how men like that don't exist anymore. And it's not just because of feminism. People always blame feminism for everything. It's simply because men don't have an incentive to, men don't have a culture for it, and they're not bullied or prided in the ability to provide. There's a certain type of man, it doesn't even matter if the woman and him fell out in bad terms. He will never let that woman suffer because he just prides himself in being able to take care of his wife or his partner. Those men don't exist anymore. We have not cultivated them. I don't know. And then there's porn and video games. So we have all of that. I'm saying all this because I feel like we're in this like blind leading the blind, going in this circle where women are talking about they're getting the provider men, they're not going 50-50, blah, 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 blah. And the men are saying we're not paying shit. And we don't want to provide and we don't give a fuck. And there's this collective copium we're going through as a society about what to do with this situation. And how so many women are yearning deep down to hand over whatever dignity and self-respect they have for the chance at a benevolent patriarch. But the reality is that something I want to hark down in any conversation I have is that women, we work not to find the George Clooney, not to find the Brad Pitt, not to find the perfect man, but so that we can walk away from the man we do not want. What being able to work and earn our own money does, it does not guarantee us that we'll find the love of our lives or the man of our dreams or the benevolent patriarchy king. But what it does say is that like we will not be destitute by leaving a man that's abusing us. And I wonder why so many women forget that when it comes to like undermining the achievements of women for the sake of male approval. I don't know, I'm making this thing and pushing it out as quickly as possible because I really want to get women's feedback or everybody's opinions on the state of the culture. Why are women so happy and willing to like just surrender any form of like dignity and self-respect we have for the hope of a benevolent patriarch when literally all the evidence is proving to the contrary? And how my friend and I basically summarized it as we live in a patriarchy without patriarchs. Yes, they are the Jeff Bezos and the Elon Musks, the winners in men who get to Elon Musk. If he wants to have 200 children, he can basically have them. But the reality is that there are not enough Elon Musks to go around. And so we are just living in this copium state of culture. And I would really love to hear all your comments about this situation and what you all think. And I would want to prepare the essay for Sunday based off of this. Thank you all, and I will see you later.